Hello, hello. Welcome to our Vinyasa practice today. Today's posture we're going to work toward is camel pose. So in camel pose, we are very much pushing the shoulders, the chest, the heart forward. And so just a little bit of FYI as we head into that. Sometimes when we work to push our chest forward and open, so as humans and women naturally, we tend to cover, protect. That's why we cross our arms or our shoulders kind of round forward. In addition to technology at our fingertips, we tend to round forward. So today's practice is going to be the counter move of all of that. So it's going to be about opening the chest, pulling the shoulders back and down. And in doing that, it's so counter to all of this that we normally do that when we open up and expand across the chest, pushing the chest forward sometimes makes it feel kind of fluttery. So if you start to feel that way and it's too much, just come back to like a neutral spine. Don't push the chest out so far. It's not super extreme, but everyone kind of has a different reaction to it. For me, it took a long time to work through those fluttery feelings and feel comfortable in camel pose. So just know before we get into it, but before we do, I'm going to show you options as we come into camel, and I'll walk you through them too as we get to the point of the practice of being in camel. But essentially, the full camel posture is up on the knees, tucking the toes so that the heels are lifted. You can also do it heels down, either way. So tucking the toes, and then the hands go to the backs of the feet, and then your chest comes up and forward. The head is neutral. Okay, so that's a lot on the toes, it's a lot on the knees, it's a lot in the chest and the heart moving forward. So other options are to come and sit on the heels, grab a block or two. If you have two blocks, I would recommend having them close by. If you don't have two blocks, you can use two of anything that's about this high. So the other option is that you can be up on the knees and use the block, because the block's going to be a little bit higher than your foot, so it's less far as you bend back that you have to reach. So instead of coming here to the heel, you're a little bit higher with the block. Okay, then the other option, if you're not using the block, is to come and sit on the heels. You bring the fingertips back behind you, maybe to the feet, but if you're sitting, it might be a little hard to reach. And then you lift, push the chest up and forward, squeeze the shoulder blades behind you. And then the other option, if this is too much, either on the shoulders, the back, or the knees, or even the ankles when you're sitting, the other option is to sit crisscross, fingertips behind your back, and then do the same thing. Push the chest forward, squeeze the shoulder blades forward. So just know that where we're headed in that camel pose, there are options. That's what they look like. And I'll walk you through them as we get there. So when you are ready, go ahead and make your way down to the mat, onto your back. As you come to lay down on your mat, go ahead and let the soles of the feet come together and the knees come out wide. Just an opportunity here for a different posture. If this is uncomfortable on the hips, by all means, just extend your legs out long. But this is just another way for us to work on hip flexors. And then I offer for you to put your arms down on the mat and then bend at your shoulders. One hand on your belly, one hand on your chest. And then start to Just pay attention to your breath. Just notice, are you breathing through the upper chest into the heart space? Or are you taking longer, stronger, more intentional inhales and breathing all the way down through the chest into the middle and low belly? So on your inhale, if you're breathing all the way down, your chest should lift, your belly should lift. It'll feel like you're pushing your belly really far out because you're breathing in and breathing all that air down into the belly and the diaphragm. And then as you exhale, it's the opposite. So as you exhale, all the air comes back up and out, and so much so that you squeeze the belly button to the spine. Empty everything out. Okay, so let's go again. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, keep doing that. Keep following your breath, and I'm going to take us through 4 rounds of box breathing. So as we continue nice, long, strong inhales, box breath also focuses on the pause between the inhale and exhale. So in a moment, we're going to breathe in to a 4 count, hold to a 4 count, exhale to a 4 count, and hold to a 4 count again before we inhale. So it's called a box breath because you're doing those 4 things of equal measures in time. So we'll get used to it, we'll feel comfortable with it, and then we'll return back to our normal breath. So meet me at the bottom of an exhale here. I will cue you through. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4. Keep going. Inhale, hold, exhale, hold. Last time. Inhale, hold, exhale, hold. Nice job, nice job. Return to your normal breath here. Use your fingertips to gently bring the knees back up to center, and then heel toe the feet out wide so that they touch the outside long edge of your mat. Let the knees come in towards center. Touch each other so that you're releasing that pressure, that push, that pull in the hip flexors. The hands can stay, one hand on the belly, one hand on the chest. You can rest on the belly or out to the side, anywhere that feels good. So camel pose is all about working the shoulders. So we're going to do that here in just a second. Start warming them up. On your inhale, bring the feet back hip distance apart and then extend them out long. Okay, so we've done a practice before where we inhale, bring the arms up overhead and reach behind us. We're not going to do that, but it's similar. So on your inhale, the toes and the fingers are going to reach up toward the ceiling. So pause here and pay attention to the feet. So the feet should be pulled in toward the shins, flexed backwards so far that the heels lift up off the mat. Your fingers are reaching to the ceiling, not overhead, to the ceiling. So from here, I want you to think about your inhale lengthening through the arms. So whereas your inhale, you're bringing the arms up to the ceiling, your shoulder blades are probably still touching the mat. I want you to shift and reach like you're reaching to pick up a baby from a friend. Reach the fingertips all the way up to the ceiling so that the shoulders lift. The toes are still flexed, so your heels are still lifted, strong legs. And then as you exhale, I want you to drop the hands to opposite shoulders. So think of this as giving yourself a hug. So your hands are going to go around the shoulders or as close as they can. Don't forget about your feet. They're still flexed back towards your shin. Walk the fingertips around the shoulders as much as you can. Give yourself the biggest hug. Hold here and breathe. And when you're ready, on your inhale, release the heels to the ground and the arms up to the ceiling. Roll out those ankles. And then as the arms reach up, shoulders lift. Now you're going to drop the hands to the opposite shoulder. So whichever elbow naturally fell on top last time, it's going to be opposite this time. Flex those toes back towards your shins. Heels are lifted off the mat. Give yourself a big, big hug. Squeeze the shoulders with the grip of your hands. Pull the shoulders forward. They're rounding, creating space in the back. And then release the grip on the shoulders. Arms reach up overhead. Now, one good morning stretch. Arms reach up overhead. Toes point forward, not flex back. Toes point forward, but they're pointing so much and those legs are so engaged that the heels are lifted off the mat again. Arms are hovering, fingers are reaching. Big good morning stretch. And then when you're ready, exhale, hug the knees into the chest. Wrap the hands around. Option here to lift the head and tuck the chin into the knees, into the chest. Option to rock side to side. Really just listen to what you're feeling in this stretch. Depending on the time of day when you're watching this video, you could be super stiff early in the morning. You could be more tired and lethargic in the evening, or you could be midday where you're feeling pretty good and a little bit more limber. Okay, let the hands come on top of the knees or under the knees. We're going to rock forward and back a couple times on purpose, taking a couple times. And then we're going to come all the way up into a comfortable seat. I'm going to turn and face you guys, but you can face the front short side of your mat. Find your half lotus or comfortable seat posture. So on your inhale, we're going to start working out the shoulders a little bit more. We're going to walk the fingertips. I think we've done this before, but walk the fingertips on the right hand all the way out to the right as far as they'll go. Here's the thing. Your spine is still nice and tall. Your crown of your head is shining toward, reaching toward the ceiling. So we're not moving any part of our body except the right hand and the right fingers. Okay, when you cannot walk your right fingers out anymore, try one last time. You should start to feel a pull in the arm, the elbow, like the front of the elbow, the crease of your arm, into the shoulders and up into the neck. Then I want you to carefully drop the left ear down to the left shoulder. So it's not going to go all the way down. It's not going to touch because everything is stretching on the right side from the head through the shoulders, down the arms and into the fingers. But stay here, breathe in. And on your inhale, head comes back up to neutral. Right hand comes to your lap. Left arm is going to reach out. Walk the fingertips back, but pay attention to your body. Make sure that you're still sitting nice and straight. Crown of the head reaches and shines to the ceiling. Left fingers walk out just a smidge more, and then start to drop the right ear to the right shoulder and feel that stretch all the way down the left side. Feel that stretch all the way from the left ear to the left fingertips. Slowly release those left fingers, bring the hands back in. Nice, we're gonna work on shoulder movements, and then we'll start moving and coming up off the mat. So when you're ready, we're gonna round the shoulders up toward the ear, back toward your back, the back of the room or wherever you're sitting, down, like pull the shoulders down from the ears and forward. So I want you to think about really exaggerating the forward movement and the backward movement. So that forward movement, we're really going to round through the back, think like a cat spine when we're in cat-cow. And then when our shoulders go backwards, we're going to really focus on pulling the shoulders backwards, so our chest shines forward, shoulder blades squeeze together like you could hold a pencil between your shoulder blades. Okay? A few times here. Inhale, arms are up, shoulders come up, back. Exhale, down and forward. Inhale, up and back. Exhale, down and forward. Two more. Inhale, up, back. Exhale, down and forward. One more time. Inhale, up, back, down, forward. Nice. Opposite direction now. So now we're going to go inhale is down, forward. Exhales up and back. Inhale, down, forward. Exhale, up and back. Two more times. Down, forward, up, back and down. Forward, up. Squeeze the shoulders back and down. Nice. Take a couple rounds of just rolling the head. Nice. All right, we're going to keep working on the shoulders as we come up off the mat. So scoot back on your sit bones so that we can come up into a tabletop posture here. I'll turn to face the same direction you guys are. So from here, our shoulders are over wrists, hips are over knees. We're going to take some dynamic movements here so that we're able to start to open up the spine, the shoulders even more. Okay, so on your inhale, our right arm is going to reach up, open up toward the right side. Exhale, twist in the spine, reach the right arm under and behind the left. Let that the right shoulder sink down into the mat. Sorry if my mic was stuffy. So that right arm is reaching out. Pull that right arm further out just a little bit. Use that left palm down on the mat to push and twist open a little bit. While this does twist the spine, it also pushes into that shoulder stretch. On your inhale, push into the left palm, reach the right hand up, open, up toward the right again. And bring that right hand down toward the mat. And then we're going to shift our hands forward so that we come into this modified plank. The hips come forward, shoulders come forward, and then we're actually going to keep going a little bit further so that the shoulders come forward past the wrists. And then we're going to hug the elbows in toward the ribs, Lower all the way down onto the mat. Inhale, push up into your cobra. Notice your cobra. Pay attention to your shoulders. Pull them back and down the spine. The gaze looks up toward the ceiling. And then we're going to exhale, engage the core, lift the hips up and back. And then we're going to sink back into an active child's pose here. Nice active child's pose. Elbows are lifted. Okay, so keeping the elbows lifted and the arms engaged, keep the left hand where it is. I want you to put the right hand on top of the left. Okay, and from here, our lower body is still in our child's pose, but I want you to think about pulling the left hip up towards your left armpit and pushing the right hip back toward the back wall behind you. So you should notice that that really adds a pull in that right side body, right shoulder, right arm. Inhale, arms go straight out. Elbows are still lifted. Left hand comes on top of the right. Now the opposite, pull the right hip up toward the right armpit. Send that left hip back toward the back wall. The exhale melts you into that stretch, and you should feel that pull all the way up through the ribs, the shoulder, the arm. Inhale, let the hands come back out to a normal child's pose. Inhale, come up, find your tabletop. I'm going to do the same thing on the opposite side, and then we'll come up off the mat a little. So knees are underneath the hips, shoulders over the wrists. We're going to inhale, left arm's going to open up nice and big. Ooh, exhale. Twist that left arm, goes underneath the right and behind it. You're going to rest and lay. I'm going to hover a little bit because otherwise my microphone will get messed up. But you're going to twist the left shoulder is going to come down all the way onto the mat. Use that right hand to push the twist a little bit more, to pull that left arm through a little bit more, to feel the stretch in the shoulder a little bit more. And from here, on your inhale, push into the right hand, lift up and open. Feel that twist open up opposite. So this is always my cue and my reminder. My left shoulder is so much worse than my right that I don't have as good range of motion. So in this posture or any, just notice what adjustments are needed depending on how it's feeling. Okay, so now we come back into our tabletop, walk our hands forward, shift the hips forward, find that modified plank. On your exhale, shift forward a little bit more, send the shoulders past the wrist, and then exhale, hug the elbows in, lower all the way down. Inhale, push up, find your cobra, pull the shoulders back and down away from your ears. Exhale, engage the core, lift the hips up and back. Find that active child's pose again. So elbows are lifted as we come down. Stack the right hand on top of the left. Pull that left hip up toward the armpit. Send the right hip back. Find that big side body stretch. Inhale. Unstack the hands, find your active child's pose, and then left hand stacks on top of the right. As you exhale, melt the heart down toward the mat. Pull that right hip up toward the right armpit, send the left hip back. Inhale, hands come forward. Exhale, lift the hips up through a tabletop, just enough to where you can tuck the toes. We're going to lift the hips, come up and back. I don't think this sweatshirt was the right sweatshirt to wear, but it is okay. I have a tank top on underneath, so it'll do. All right, so pedal out the feet. Really exaggerate that bend in the knee and push the heel down toward the mat of the leg that you're stretching out through the back of. And then on your inhale, pause, tiny bend in the knee, push the hips up nice and high, look forward between your hands, and then exhale, step or hop forward between your hands. Travel forward is how I'll cue that. But any way you come up into your forward fold works perfectly fine. So from here, we're going to roll up one vertebra at a time, really super slow. The hands, the arms, the shoulders, the neck are the last thing to come up. Nice. Couple of shoulder rolls here. So inhale, shoulders go up, back and down, up, back and down, opposite, back, up, forward and down, back, up, forward and down. Nice. Okay. So now we're going to start our main sequence for this practice, where we're going to start to introduce the camel pose. So we will do this 4 times through, each time a little bit faster, getting to where we're moving with our own breath and movement, but we'll take it slow the first few times, so don't worry. Okay, so inhale, arms are going to reach up. Exhale, hands are going to come to heart center. Shift your weight into your left leg, lift the right knee in toward the chest. On your exhale, you're going to step back with your right foot, a short step back, not a lunge, a short step. So we're coming into pyramid. Hands are still at heart center. I want you to look down at your feet. They both should be pointing forward, and they should look like they're on railroad tracks, not in the same line. Okay, so hands are at heart center. On your exhale, we're going to hinge at the hips so the lower body stays in our pyramid, and then the fingers reach out behind as we have that flat back. Okay, so those arms are really strong and engaged, just like they were when we were reaching up for the ceiling when we were laying on our back. Good. Now stay here in the lower body, and then on your inhale, the arms are going to reach forward ahead of you. So squeeze that belly button in for stability here. Reach the arms forward. Our back is still flat. Our legs are still in pyramid. And then when we're ready, we're going to hinge, come up, bring hands to heart center, pull this right knee back into the chest. Nice. Okay, when you're ready, exhale, hinge at the hips, wide, long step back. Now we're coming into that lunge. Sink into your version of lunge. And then on your exhale, we're going to hover the chest. So it's kind of like we're going to humble, but we're not going to worry about shifting to the inside of that front leg. We're just going to hover just above that front thigh so that we have almost like a flat back and the arms are reaching out behind us. Socks are not recommended. So in our lunge, long stance, hover, hold. Good. On your inhale, we're going to either keep the lower body where it is and reach the arms up overhead like we did in our pyramid, or from this lunge with your fingers back, you can kick off the right foot, find your warrior 3, and arms go forward. Either option is perfect. Bring that right foot down next to the left, hands to heart center. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale to a halfway lift. Pay attention here to that flat back. Exhale, fold. Plant your hands on the mat. Step back. Find your modified plank like we were at before. Shift the hips forward, shift the shoulders forward, just past the wrist. And then exhale, hug the elbows in, lower. Inhale, push up, find your cobra. And exhale, Lift the hips up and back. Come to sit back on the heels. Okay, so we're going to take our first intro into Cobra. So grab your block if you want to use it. We're low to the ground, so you probably don't need to, but it's here if you want it. So on your inhale, fingertips are going to slide back, plant down behind your toes, kind of like out into the side. And then you're going to squeeze the shoulders together, shoulder blades, lift the chest up and open. So this is going to feel just like when we were doing our shoulder rolls and we were pulling our shoulders back. Same thing here. Push the chest up and out. Think about your neck and your spine in a neutral position. Nice. Slowly start to come back to a neutral spine. Sit up nice and tall. Fingertips come forward. Come up off the heels. Tuck the toes. Lift the hips up and back. Find that downward facing dog. Tiny bend in the knee. Push the hips up nice and high. On your inhale, look forward. On your exhale, step forward. Travel forward. Good. Stay in that forward fold. Inhale. We're going to reverse swan dive. Come up slow and steady. Arms reach up. Hands come to heart center. So that was 1 out of 4. Okay. So now same thing. We're going to shift into the right foot. The left knee is going to lift up. Squeeze that belly button in toward the spine. And then on your exhale, take a short step back on that railroad track. Hinge at the hips. Reach the fingers out behind. Stay here for a breath. Think about flat back. Inhale, arms are going to move forward, but everything else stays where it is. Reach, reach, reach. Good. Inhale, hands come to heart center as we stand up. Drag that left foot forward, up, and in toward the chest. Exhale, hinge at the hips, wide, long step back. Find that lunge. Widen your step, sink into that front knee. And then as we exhale, we're hovering the upper body over that front leg and reaching our fingertips out behind us. Stay here for a breath. And remember, when we make this transition, you can keep your lower body as it is with your upper body as well, and then reach your arms toward the mirror or toward the window or wall ahead of you. Or you can kick off the left foot, come up, find your warrior 3 as your arms reach toward the window. Left foot comes down, hands to heart center. Inhale, arms up. Beautiful. Exhale down. Inhale, halfway lift. Fingertips gently put a little bit of pressure on the shins, flat back. Exhale, plant your hands, step back. You can stay in a regular plank if you'd like. Drop the knees into your modified plank. With my shoulder, I'm going to modify. Push the hips forward or push forward on the toes if you're in a plank. Exhale, lower. Inhale, push up and open. Find your cobra. Exhale, lift the hips up and back just to a child's pose for a second. Wrap the fingers around toward the feet. Tuck the fingers underneath the toes. I'm going to stay lifted just for the sound, but the forehead will come down to the mat. The fingers tuck under the toes. Allow the shoulders to round forward. Release. So we're going to flow through that one more time on each side. We know where we're going because it's the same on both sides. Now we're going to move a little bit quicker, not fast, but quicker. And then we will come in to close our practice after that. Okay. So on your next inhale, lift, bring the fingertips forward, let them drag across the mat. plant the hands, tuck the toes, lift the hips up and back. Find that downward facing dog, tiny bend in the knee, push the hips up real high. Inhale, look forward between the hands. Exhale, travel forward, forward fold. Inhale, reverse swan dive. Nice and slow all the way up, especially since we just spent quite a bit of time, few breaths in that child's pose. Exhale, hands to heart center. All right, shift your weight into that left foot. Hug the right knee in. Exhale, step back. As you step back, as that foot comes down to meet the mat, hinge at the hips, reach those fingers back. That's your exhale. Stay for an inhale and an exhale. On your inhale, lower body stays where it is, arms reach forward. Squeeze the belly button to the spine. And inhale, hands come to heart center, come up. Drag that right foot in toward the chest. Nice. Exhale, big long step back. Find that lunge. Widen your stance. If you are unbalanced here, you can spread the legs out wider. And then as you exhale, hover, chest above that thigh, and hands reach behind. Hold for your inhale and your next exhale. One more inhale. And then as you exhale, kick off that right foot. Find your warrior three. Right leg is lifted, arms reach forward. Nice. Come bring that right foot down, hands to heart center. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands. Find your plank or modified plank. Exhale, lower all the way down. Inhale, push up to cobra. Squeeze the shoulders back and down the spine. Exhale, come to sit back on the heels. Okay, so here we're going to do our cobra. So I'm going to offer you to come into full cobra, but you choose what you prefer. So you can do what we did before, fingertips back, push the chest up and forward. You can come up into a kneeling posture and use the block on its highest setting to bring the floor closer to you. If you're going to do cobra with me, please follow my cues. Tuck the toes, lift the heels higher to you. Bring the right hand back to your heel, squeeze the belly button to spine, and the left arm lifts. So you're going to kind of naturally turn toward the right side when you do this. So then on your next move is to turn and twist to the opposite side. This is actually going to make your chest square forward. Arm is going to lift up, and then it's slowly going to come down to that left ankle. Again, my left shoulder is a little wonky, so me coming into this on the left side is a little bit harder. And then push the hips forward. Head is in neutral. Squeeze the shoulders together. Nice, and come out the same way. Squeeze the belly button to the spine. Release that left hand, it goes up. And then release the right arm, comes up. Hands come down to the mat. Tuck the toes. Lift the hips up and back. Last time through. Lift. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, travel forward. Inhale, reverse swan dive. Come up nice and slow. Exhale, hands to heart center. Shift the weight into that right foot. Hug the knee into the chest, the left knee. Exhale, as we step back, our upper body hinges and reaches back. One fluid, beautiful movement. Stay. One more breath. On your next inhale, Upper body and lower body stay the same, except arms travel forward. Reach to the mirror, squeeze the belly button in. Good. Come to hinge at the hips to stand up, hands to heart center, knee comes into chest. Good. Last big step back. Left foot reaches, find your lunge. And same here, as soon as that left foot comes back, we hinge back on our exhale. Reach the arms, nice, strong, extended fingers. Our chest hovers above that thigh. We're not leaning on it. And then either stay here and inhale the arms forward, or from here, on your exhale, kick off the foot. Find that warrior three. One last time. Strong left lifted leg. Long, strong reaching arms. Left foot comes down, hands to heart center. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands. Step back, find your plank or modified plank. Shift the hips forward, lower all the way down. Last time through. Inhale, push up. Squeeze the shoulders. Exhale, come to sit back in a kneeling posture. We're going to come into camel one last time. So from here, you can either sit back on your heels, reach, push the chest forward. You could sit up on the heels. Last time we started with the right hand on the heel, so we're going to do opposite here. So left hand is on your left heel. Inhale, that right arm is going to lift. Then I want you to think about reaching and twisting to open up so that everything comes forward to the front of your mat. And then when you're ready, that right hand comes back, reaches for your heel, push the chest forward as you squeeze the shoulders together. Good. Same way out. Left hand stays, right arm lifts, squeeze the belly button to spine. Left arm lifts high, untuck the toes, hands come down to the mat. Sink the hips back, find your child's pose. Bring the fingers back to tuck underneath the tops of your toes. Let the forehead come down to the mat. And allow yourself to settle in here. So think of this child's pose rounded forward so much that it's countering your camel pose. So in camel, we have our chest open and our back in a back bend. And this child's pose, we tuck everything forward, round forward. So we're balancing that stretch. When you're ready to come out of that child's pose, slowly lift up. Bring the fingers up forward in front of you. Shift down onto one hip, doesn't matter which one. And then come to lay all the way down on your back on the mat. One last shoulder opener. Just put a little bit of gentle pressure in the back of your head, just enough so that you can lift the chest off the mat, squeeze the shoulders in so that when you lay back down, your chest is lifted. It's going to kind of make your arms want to splay out to the side, and that's okay. Nice. Okay, so from here, I want you to roll the ankles, roll the wrists. Go the opposite direction. And then slowly let them release. An option here is going to be to pull the soles of the feet back in together. Let the knees open up out wide. So a lot of what we did today was hinging forward on the hip flexors, not really opening up toward the side. So this is just a little bit of a counter stretch to everything that we did. Allow a variety of mobility in the hips. So then when you're ready, allow the fingers and the hands to gently help pull the knees back up to center. Heel toe the feet out wide as you would like, maybe even off the mat. And then let the knees come in together and rest on each other. So the wider that your stance is here, the wider your feet are off the mat, and the further in your knees have to travel to meet, will increase the stretch in the outside hips. So whatever feels good for you here. If this is too much, heel toe the feet back onto the outside edge of the mat or closer. And then when you're ready, bring the knees out wide and the feet back onto the mat, and then let everything extend out long. Let the arms rest down by your side, bend at the elbows, and then place one hand on your belly, one hand on your chest. We're going to do 2 box breath rounds, and then we'll settle in here. So meet me at the bottom of an exhale. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. One more time. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Hold. Please feel free to continue that box breath and or your Shavasana as long as you possibly can. Honor this time on your mat and offer yourself gratitude for taking the time to practice. The light, love, and joy in me sees that in you, honors that in you. Wishing you a beautiful day, evening, and week. And thank you for joining me on the mat.